How y'all doing? It's Jared. Can you guys spot the problem? You probably already see it, but Tang pin's falling out, right? And this isn't a horribly fit Tang pin. You can see it is a little bit knurled there to kind of fit in there. But what the problem was, this fell out originally, just kind of fell out from me using it. And what was going on is I actually believe it's the same issue that this one has here, which this one is, this is not as bad. But it's the same issues. You can still see that little bit of knurling there. And you notice when I actually close these handles in, it protrudes out further on this side than it does this side. You can see that it's further recessed in there. And so the Tang pin isn't level. It wasn't pushed in properly, I think is what the original problem was with this one here. So if I can get it jammed back in there, I might actually have a chance of it staying there for a decent amount of time. I do have a trick that I'll show you for actually if that isn't the case. If the pin will not stay actually just due to the fact that it's not big enough, it doesn't have that proper knurling, or the actual hole's too big, it's been beaten in too long, whatever, what have you. What you can do, come on, keep my handle set up like this. I'm going to leave everything in place. All the screws, everything in place. Take my little washers off. Alright. There's my blade. Okay. And so what you can do if... Oh, screw it. I'll do it to this knife anyway. Right? So what I'm going to do is get a piece of steel. Something that is as hard or harder is the key than the actual blade itself, right? And that's the hard part, because if you're dealing with a higher end balisong, getting something that's harder than a genuine 440C may be a bit difficult. But this blade here, as shown in this model, I dropped this on the floor, and look at my, if you look at my Instagram page, you'll see what this actually was before I knocked that little tip off. It was a full little curl. So I have a feeling that this isn't actually 440C, and I'm probably going to be able to do this with a screwdriver. So I'm going to take all of my small parts and move them off to the side so I don't bust anything up. And what I've got here is a piece of wood with a hole drilled in it. This hole serves multiple purposes. You can see there that it'll fit both Tang pins. I can fit both of those Tang pins down in the recess with the knife being rigid, or the knife being flush on there. Okay, that's important, especially when replacing this second Tang pin. What I'm going to do is actually just take my screwdriver, and I'm going to actually use this Tang pin to hold it steady here. Set it up like this, and what I'm going to do is just beat it into the side. And I'm not being gentle with this. I'm giving it a decent hit, decent amount of force. What this is going to do is deformate this hole. You can see that there. I've put a ding in that hole, a little bit of a dent in that hole. And so if I walk my way around, and I do this in a few different positions, I'll do it up front. Give myself another little ding, and you can see what that's doing is collapsing that hole in, right? If I give myself enough of a burr around that edge, I actually beat that steel up enough of around that actual edge that it will grasp onto that Tang pin, right? It's just actually closing that metal down in around. It's giving that Tang pin actually something to grasp into. And so now what I'm going to do first is figure out which way this pin needs to go. So this pin needs to go just a tiny bit this way. Take it, take my little tool. This is proper, right? Yep. Just give it a little bit of a tap. You see that there? And that leveled out that pin. And now there's no more knurling sticking out. There is a little bit sticking out of the bottom there, but it's okay because the pin is more level. And so when I reassert it in the knife, it's going to be more stable. It's not going to want to fall out. And this Tang pin now, you can see it's got the little edges bend kind of recessed here. It's designed to go in one way. This pin is a directional pin. You can see that this end here has been narrowed off. And so I'll just insert that in there, just as easy as that. And this hole being large, right? It can either have 2 holes in the wood, it can have whatever, but it's important that it's elongated so that I can actually put both of these pins in. And so now I'll just pound this one in there. Making sure I don't push it in too far. Check it. See that? I went too far. I went overzealous with it. Grab my pen. Let's try this again. It's about even. Looks good. Now, get all my little parts back together. Reassemble the knife. I'm not actually going to do that here. If you want to watch that, check out the video on Loctiting. Y'all have a good one.